Welcome guys. We are in module 3. So in module 3, we will discuss about Spark SQL, that is data frame and dataset API. So let's get started. So before we proceed, first we have to understand what are the different abstraction present in Spark 2.x. With Spark 2.x, basically, there are three types of abstractions, starting from RDD, which was in version 1.0. So Spark 1.x, people used to use RDDs. And from Spark 1.3 version, they introduced one more abstraction called data frame. And 1.6, they introduced another level of abstraction called dataset. So if you look into this, RDD is being the older abstraction in Spark. So today, people use only data frame and data set for writing Spark application. RDD is considered as low-level APIs. So if you use RDD's low-level APIs, a lot of Spark performance will not be applied to RDDs. This is very important. We will see that in detail again. But do remember, RDD is considered as outdated and it is considered as low-level APIs. People don't use RDDs anymore. Okay, so people tend to use either data frame or dataset API. Okay, this point is very important. What I've put here, RDD lets you decide how we want. That means whatever you have coded, RDD behaves the same way. So for example, you are performing join and then you are applying filter. So you have coded in such a way that first you perform join and then you do filter. Whereas RDD does the same way. First it will try to do join and then it will try to do filter. Whereas if you use data frame, what happens? It tries to do optimization. It tries to filter first and then it tries to to join. So a lot of performance things comes when you use data frame API. So RDDs are considered as legacy, or it is considered as low level APIs people don't tend to use anymore. Okay, any questions you have, you can raise your hand, guys. What is Spark SQL? This is very important, guys. Spark SQL is a Spark module. This is very important. So if you look into the Spark ecosystem, here if you see, there is a Spark SQL module which sits on top of your Spark ecosystems. So it is part of the Spark ecosystems. So in simple words, what is Spark SQL is? Spark SQL is one of the module in the Spark ecosystem, which is designed for analyzing structured data. This is very important. Just like in Hadoop ecosystems, we have Hive, right? So what is Hive? Hive is designed for analyzing structured data. Similarly, Spark SQL is also designed for analyzing structured data. This point is very important. Now, Spark SQL provides high-level abstractions than the Spark Core API for especially processing the structured data. So you can interact with Spark SQL. This point is very important. You can interact with the Spark SQL module using three ways. You can write a normal SQL query. You can make use of data frame API. You can make use of dataset API as well. So to interact with Spark SQL, there are three ways. One is using SQL, and another one using data frame API, and another one is using data set API. So there are three ways through which you can interact with Spark SQL and analyze the data. Now, what exactly data frame is all about? The definition says data frame is a distributed collection of structured data. This point is very important. It is nothing but a kind of a table which has schema, simple. So data frame, it is nothing but a table which has rows and columns, and which has I can say it has a certain schema. So data frame is a distributed collection of structured data. It is conceptually equivalent to a table in relational database. Or in other words, I can say data frame is nothing but an RDD having schema, what we call it as schema RDD. So data frame is nothing but having schema. So you can always compare it like a table. A table means it has rows and columns. So data frame is nothing but where you try to create a kind of a table which consists of rows and columns. Okay. So using data frames, we could load data in table form into memory using special type of RDD called data frames. This is very important. And data frames are like in-memory database tables, nothing but, it is, as I told you, that data frame is like, a table, which is like, the table is persisting in memory. That is a difference. And it is built upon RDDs. So this point is very important. It is built upon RDDs. Definitely everything sits on top of the Spark core RDDs, but Spark optimizes because it knows the schema. This point is very important. So a lot of optimization techniques are applied on data frames. And since it knows the schema, it will internally do a lot of optimizations. That point is very important to be noted. Okay, you can create a data frame from different sources. For example, you can create a data frame from a CSV file. You can create a data frame from a database tables. You can create a data frame from NoSQL tables. You can create a data frame from almost any sources. This point is very important. Later we will see that we will try to perform a kind of a small data pipeline where we try to read the data from some different source and we try to analyze and try to put it into the RDBMS. We will try to build a small data pipeline and we will understand. But yeah, so one important point to remember again, in Spark 2.x onwards, when I say data frame, please do remember this. This point is very important. When I say data frame, it is nothing but a data set of raw objects. This point is very important, guys. So when I say data frame in Spark 2.x, do remember, it is nothing but data set of raw objects. Why am I stressing on this is, if you look into the Spark documentation, you don't have anything called as data frames. I will show you. So there is nothing called as data frame. Whenever anybody refers to data frame, it is nothing but data set of raw objects. So you create a data frame. When I create a data frame means it is nothing but a data set of raw objects. This point is very, very important to be remembered. So it is data frame, as I told you, it is distributed collection of raw objects. Clear? Any questions here, guys? Any questions from anybody? Okay, I see there's no questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise hand, guys. I will help you out. Okay. Now, till now, we were talking about RDDs. So if you remember in my previous classes, it is all about RDDs. How do you create RDDs? How do you perform some transformations on RDDs, right? So for example, so if you see this, that, to create an RDD from memory, what we used to do, Spark context dot parallelize method we used to invoke, which used to create RDDs. If you want to create an RDD from a file, what we used to do, we used to write a Spark context dot text file method we used to invoke, and this used to create an RDD. So till now, it is all about RDDs. Okay. From now onwards, it is all about data frames. You should know how to create data frames. So there are several ways to create data frame. For example, if you see how to create an RDD from memory, we used to invoke a method called parallelize method. Now it is all about data frames. So how do you create a data frame from memory? So Spark, when I say Spark here, I hope everybody knows that Spark here means it is an implicit object. So it is Spark session. When I say Spark, it is Spark session. Spark session has a method called create data frame. So you pass a collection, you will be able to get a data frame. So in Spark RDD world, you used to invoke parallelize method, which is present in Spark context. But with data frames, you have to invoke create data frame, which is inside Spark session. So this creates a data frame. Please look at the difference. Parallelize method, create data frame methods. Parallelize is in Spark context. Create data frame is present in Spark session. And how do you create an RDD from the external file? Very clear. Text file method, Spark context dot text file method. Whereas a data frame, you create spark.read, and spark.read has several methods like CSV, JSON, JDBC, through which you can create a data frame. Let's see all these things with hands-on. Now, before I proceed, any single questions from anybody, guys? Mehboob, any questions? Nayana, Pavitra? Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, right. So let's proceed. Now, the very first example we will see how to create a data frame from memory. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I think I already have the application here. I will be using the same application. Okay. So I hope everybody is aware how to create a Maven based project and add the scalar dependencies. Okay, now let me just create a module 03. Okay, so let me create a code here. Okay, so I have kept certain shortcuts, so you need not worry about those shortcuts. Once again, yeah. So I will import all the necessary things. I have shortcuts, so I've imported all necessary things, and let me create a Spark session. I think all these things we are already aware. So we have created this Spark session. Now let me store some data into the collection first. Okay. Guys, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
audible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me create some data and store it into a collection. I will name it as employee records, and I will store into an array of records, array of tuples. So first record, second record, third record. So I will try to store 3 records in a collection array. Okay, so let me store 1 comma, let's say Naveen, 2 comma Vishnu, 3 comma some records I have. Now the first example, how do we create a data frame from collection? So if you remember, how do you create a data frame from collection? So here, if you see this, I told you that, you will invoke create data frame method present in Spark session, and you will pass the collection, and this will create a data frame. So let me do that. So I will just store it while df is equal to. So when I say Spark, what is Spark here? Spark is nothing but Spark session object. Okay, Spark is nothing but Spark session object. Can you see this here? Spark session object. So Spark dot, there's a method called create data frame, and you pass the collection to it. You pass the collection to it. So this will create a data frame. Now, once data frame is created, it is all about the methods available inside data frame. For example, once the data frame is created, there are methods like, for example, show. This will show the top 20 records. Let's execute this, and then I'll explain you further. Focus this particular module, guys. This is the core of entire Spark. So it is all about, let it execute. It is all about now different methods available in Spark. So one such method is show method. We will see different methods available in the data frames. I think it is still taking some time. Let it load. Yeah. Can you see this here? So if you observe this very carefully, I told you what is a data frame. Data frame is nothing but a tabular representation of your data with rows and columns. Now, if you look into this data set here, I have data 3 records, 1, 2, and 3 records. And if you see this, I did not specify the schema. Since I did not specify the schema by default, what your Spark did, it added schema by name as _1 and _2. So now what I will be doing, I will try to add the schema according to my choice now. So I have created the data frame with these records. Then I will try to convert it back to a data frame. So please look at this, guys. This is very important. By default, it has created. By default, it has created, with column names as _1 and _2 because I did not specify the schema. So now what I do, I will simply write 2df, and here I can specify the column names. So I'll specify the column names. First column is ID and second column is name. So here, if you see this, I have created a data frame, and again, I'm converting that data frame to a data frame with column names as ID and name. Now, when I execute this now, please look at this. Instead of _1 and _2, now the column names will be ID and name. Well, let us wait, guys. Yeah, now can you see this? You have column names as ID and name. Right. Any questions before I proceed, guys? Okay. Right. So now we were able to see how to create a data frame from memory. Now what we will do, we will see how to create a data frame from a JSON file. Okay. I see some people are asking questions. Yeah, Mahesh, please go ahead.
Sir, so you have created a column name, right? So is that sequential or else is there
100%, 100%. It is sequential.
Yeah. So for example, let's say we have created a 10 columnar data, and we want to only change first, third, and seventh row. So in that particular case, what we can do, sir?
No. Repeat your question. For
Okay,
example,
so
you meant
now
you don't
have
want to give this.
Yes. Now we have a two cross columnar data, right? Only there are 2 columns as of now in your example that you have stated. Now we have another data which have like 10 columns, and we only want to change 1, 7, and third column names.
For no. 1 second. Repeat your question again, Mahesh. Sorry. Repeat your question again.
Yeah. So now we have 2 columns, right? In your example.
Now first, did you see this error now? First you saw that error now?
Okay. Yeah, understood.
Now,
so it says only you have to rename all the columns. If we are going to rename only one, it's not going to work.
In data frame, do remember. Okay, once again, repeat your question. Let me understand your question again. If anything, I can answer on that.
No, my question is like, can we randomly name the columns? That's the question. Like only some columns.
See, when I say data frame, randomly naming column means you already have the columns, and I want to rename only some of the columns.
Correct.
No.
It's not possible, sir.
No, you will never do that. Whenever you create a data frame, do remember, whenever you create a data frame, it is nothing but the entire data frame will have columns associated with it. Mandatory.
Okay.
Clear? You will have a schema attached to it. It is not that, only 3. No, that way it is not possible. When you give a schema to it, so you specify the entire schema.
Understood. So we cannot specify only for some of the columns and omit some of the columns.
No. It's mandatory. It should have everything.
Understood. Okay, sir. Thank you. Got it.
Okay. Now let's proceed to the next example. Now, if you see this, as I told you that, you can create a data frame. You can create a data frame from any of the sources. So you can create a data frame from a JSON file as well. Now think about a scenario, guys. This is very, very important. Now, if you want to create a data frame from an external source. So till now, I showed you a very simple example where we created a data frame from where your data resides in memory. Now, I want to create a data frame from an external source. Now, this point is very important. Now, if you want to create a data frame from an external source, maybe when I say external source, that means the data is in a file system, or data is in your RDBMS. Things from that I want to create a data frame means, do remember, the primary interface to create a data frame when the data resides in external source is data frame reader. This point is very, very important. So first step, what you will be doing, you will get the instance of this data frame reader. Let's look into the documentation first. Let's look into the documentation, then you will understand further. So if you open the documentation of Spark, so this is the official web page of Spark 2.4.5. And if you see this, the API docs. So based on the choice of, based on the language you're chosen, so you can select that. Now I've chosen Scala. So now if you see this, so I told you Spark means what? Spark is nothing but an object of type Spark session, right? So let's open Spark session here. So now if you see this here, one important observation that you have to see, can you see this O and C here? So when you see this O and C, what is this? It is companion object. Never forget this. It is companion object. Okay. So click on the Spark session. If you click on the Spark session, look at this. It tells you how to create Spark session object. See, this is the syntax to create Spark session. That is the same code which I have written as well. That is the same code which I have written as well. Okay. But if you scroll down, look at this. There is one important method to create a data frame. One is read. This point is very important. So read method returns what? Data frame reader. So data frame reader is a primary interface to create data frames in Spark. So create data frame is not used practical purpose. It is only used for learning purpose. Now, if you want to create a data frame, you have to invoke spark.read. This returns you data frame reader. And this data frame reader has several methods to create. I just clicked on that. Data frame reader has several methods to create data frame. For example, see, it has a method called CSV. It has method called, for example, can you see this JDBC? It has methods called JSON. See, it has different methods to create a data frame. So the takeaway is spark.read returns you an object of type data frame reader, and data frame reader has several methods to create a data frame. So the primary interface to create data frame is data frame reader. This is very, very important to be noted. Okay, so let me take some JSON file. Let me take some JSON file, and let's create the data frame. I think I already have some data. Let me just see. Once again, let me just see in my D drive. Okay, so if you look into this data set, what I have here, it is a JSON file. Now, I hope everybody is aware what is a JSON file. A JSON file is nothing but a file with a key and a value. This is very important. A data which is represented in the form of a key and a value is a JSON file. So if you look into this JSON document, each JSON document is surrounded with this curly braces. It has a key and a value, a key and a value, a key and a value. Now I will try to create data frame from this JSON file. Let me do it for you. Okay. Let me create one more class _02 creating data frame. Okay. So as usual, I will try to import all the necessary Spark imports, and I will try to create Spark session. Now, please look at this. I will just name it as customer DF data frame. So now Spark dot read. Look at this. Spark dot read returns what? Data frame reader. So this data frame reader has several methods. Look at this. If you want to create a data frame from a text file, you can invoke this method. If you want to create a data frame from a CSV file, you can invoke this method. If you want to create a data frame from a JSON file, you can invoke this method. As of now, I want to create a data frame from JSON file, right? So spark.read.json. So here I can specify the path of the JSON, d colon dataset slash, and the file name was customer-data.json. Data.json. Now, if you look into this, now we will explore important methods present in the data frame. Now, if you look into this, Let's print the data frame first. Let's print the data frame. And if you see, once it prints, you should observe one important thing. The header names will always be the key. The header names will always be the key. This is very important to be noted. Let it execute. Yeah, Mahesh, I think still you have raised your hand. Any questions, Mahesh?
No, sir.
Okay, you can lower your hand. Yeah, if you see this, the header names is the key names. So now you have to know the different methods available in the data frame. For example, look at this customer data frame dot, there's a method called print schema. So this will print the schema. Yeah, now can you see this here? Please observe this. It has printed the schema: age, department ID, gender, name, and salary. So it printed with the schema, right? Any questions here, guys, before I proceed? Any single question before I proceed? And one important observation here, can you see this age? It is treated as string because here, if you see this age, I've given it as string here. So that is the reason that, it is trying to print with string. So for example, if I remove this string and if I give only the numbers, it will try to take it as an int. Okay, right. Any questions here before I proceed? Okay, right. I see there's no questions. I think let's proceed then. Okay, the next example, this is very important. We will see what are the different ways to select columns from a data frames. Obviously, right? So once you have your table, you should know how to select particular columns from the table, right? Similarly, once you have a data frame, we should know how to select a particular columns from a data frame, right? Let's do that hands-on. So I will choose the same example. I will be using the same example. I will choose this customer-data.json and I will show you how to select different columns present in the data frames. So if I print the schema, we saw that, it has column names like name, gender, department ID, so on so. Now, let me show you how to select only one particular column. So, and there are different ways to select a particular column. I will show you all the different ways. For example, the first way, for example, if you want to select one particular column, what you can do, select, and you can give the list of column names here. So let me give the list of column names. The column name, let's say I will give the column name as name and let's say age. Column name, age, and now this point is very important, guys. Now any method you try to invoke on a data frame, for example, if you see this, I'm invoking like select method. Look at this. The select method returns you a data frame. So you have to be very cautious in this. Since, when I write dot select, it returns you a data frame. So I can chain it. And then finally I can write dot show. So I'm selecting name column and age column, and then I'm trying to show. So it will show you the records. So this is one way to select columns. There are several ways. I will explain you. Just hold on. Okay, now if you see this, we were able to select only the two columns, name and age. Now let me show you different ways to select columns now. So just like how we did, we passed name and age. This is one way. But when you see, the code in the production, people tend to use different ways to select columns. So I will explore all the different ways to select columns now. So for example, you can also select a column like this, dot select. So just behind this, you can select a columns, the way I'm showing you here. So you can also select a column customer df dot, and you can select, column, and you can pass the list of column names. So name, age. See, this is one way to select, this is one way to select columns as well. Sorry. This is one way to select the columns. Now, for example, can you see this? I'm selecting, for example, I'm selecting a column here. Which column? Name. So this is one way. For example, in the previous example, what we did, customer data frame dot select. For example, let's take one column now. So we selected name by simply passing string. This is one way to select column. There is another way. For example, what we did, customer data frame dot select. From the customer data frame dot call method is available for which you can give the column name. This is one more way to select a column. There are so many ways to select a column. Let me show you. So there is another way to select a column by invoking this call method. And here you can pass the column names. So the column name, let's say name. So this is another way to select a column. So do remember, this is very important. This call is a function available inside this org.apache.sql.functions package. So this point is very important. See, it is present in org.apache.spark.sql.functions. You have to import that. So this is the easiest way to select a column, but there are other ways to select a column. Like, for example, this is one way to select a column, and this is another way to select a column. So there are several ways. For example, one more way. You can also select a column using a function called column. So you can specify the column name. See, this is one more way to select a column. This they will ask you in interview. That is the reason I'm trying to tell you different ways. Or there's another way to select a column. What you can simply do, single quote, just single quote, and you can specify the column name. This is also another way to select a column from from a data frame. Like this, there are several ways. For example, people also tend to use here, instead of single quote, people also use dollar. So these are different ways to select a particular column. Here you can place of dollar. You can also give, for example, you can give some sort of an expression. So expression, and you can give the column name. For example, what the column name is, name. Like this, there are different ways to select columns. So these are some of the ways through which you can select the column. So you can write data frame.call, and you can specify the column name, or you can call this call function, and you can pass the column name. You can invoke column function, and you can pass the column name, expression, and the name. So all these are different ways through which you can invoke the you can select a particular column. So then finally, let me write show. Now let me execute it. So once it finishes, I'll take up the questions. I think it is taking some time to execute. Let it execute. Yeah. Can you see this? We were able to select a column different ways. This is very important to be noted, right? Now, any questions from anybody? Achal, any questions? Mehboob?
No.
Okay. Mehboob, any questions?
No.
Okay, right. So these are the different ways through which you can select a column from a data frame. Okay, let's get into the slides now. Yeah, Mahesh, please go ahead.
Sir, when it comes to performance, right?
There is no impact. Both are same. Sorry?
So yeah, performance impact, there is like all of them are same. There is no
All are
issue.
same, no issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now let's take up small use case now. For example, let's create a data frame the way I've shown you here. For example, let's create a data frame which has two columns. One is date and another column, let's say months to add. Okay. So once I create a data frame, I have to create another data frame out of this data frame where, the date here, if you see this 2019-01-21, and here I have months to add is 5. Now I have to apply some transformations on this data frame. Whatever is there in this months to add, it should add on to this date. So here I want to create a new data frame, like, new date should be 5 months plus 5. So 01 plus 5 becomes 6. Similarly, 2 plus 6 becomes 8. I want to transform this data frame to this data frame, right? Let's see how to do that. Is it clear, guys? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first, let's create a data frame. So I hope everybody knows how to create a data frame from memory. Okay. So look at this. Let me create object. I will just adding new column. Okay. So now what I do? So as usual, I will import everything and yeah, good to go. So now first let me create some records. So I will just name it as val list of records is equal to list of, I'll try to store 2 records. We'll store 2 records. So let's store some records. 2020 something 01 50 something and comma months to add. Let's say months to add is 3. Second record 2020 -03 -16 and months to add is 5. Okay. So first let me create a data frame out of this. So how do we create a data frame? It's very simple. From the collection means what method? Spark dot create data frame, and you will pass list of records. Okay. So this created a data frame. Let me print that data frame. df dot show. So we will be able to see a data frame with these 2 records. And yes, I have not given any schema. So I could have done it like this, 2df, and I could have specified the column names. I will just specify the column name as date, and I'll say months to add. Okay, so let it execute. Okay, so let me execute again because it has not taken the changes. Yeah, if you see this, I have 2 columns. Now, please look at this. Now, what is my use case? My use case is very clear. I want to create, I want to perform some business logic on a data frame, and also I have to create a new column. So the new column value will be that, date plus the months to add. So I want to create a new column for the data frame. So please look at this. Now what I do, very simple. Data frame, I am adding a new column. That will create a new data frame. Let me just name it as, for example, let me name it as result. So I'm trying to add data frame dot. Now I'm exploring different methods available in a data frame. df dot, there's a method called with column. Look at this. What with column will do, with column, it will try to create a column. Okay, so with column, and here you will specify the column name. So I'm just specifying the column name. I want to create a new column by name new underscore date. So I'm creating a new column. The column name is new underscore date. And the value for this particular column, look at this. The value for this particular column, you can pass some expression, and you can give the expression. You can give the expression here. Please look at this. I'm adding a new column, df.with column, and I'm giving the column name as new underscore date. And the expression for this particular column, I mean, the value for this particular column, I can give it inside this expression. So there is a built-in function called add underscore months. There is a built-in function called add underscore months. For this function, you can pass, this is very important, you can pass the date, you can pass this column date, and you can pass the months to add. So you can pass these two things, date, comma, months to add. So what this function will do, there's a built-in function called add underscore months. What this function will do, for the given date and the month to add, it will automatically add, and it will create a new column by name new underscore date. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, so now let me print the results. Result, something is not closed. One second. Okay, one more is not closed. Okay, now result dot show. Let me execute. So if you want to add a new column, what you can simply do, you can add, you can invoke a method on the data frame with column, and you can give the column name, and the value of this column is whatever is evaluated inside this expression. So inside this expression, I'm invoking a built-in function called add underscore months. For the given date and month to add, it will automatically add into new column, that is new underscore date. Yeah, can you see this here? We were able to add. And not just that, for example, I want to drop this particular column. I want to drop this particular column, month to add. I want only this column and this column. I can also invoke a method called drop. I can invoke, I can invoke a method called drop, and you can specify the column name. So the column name here, it is month to add. I want to drop this particular column. So I can also drop as well. Okay, now can you see this? We were able to successfully drop as well, right? Now, any questions from anybody, guys? Let's wait and ask questions. Yeah, Mehboob, please go ahead.
Suppose, Naveen, if I have a date format different, suppose my date starts with month.
Yes, so we can do that. I will show you. And no, this by default, this is a date format which expect by the Spark.
Okay.
But if you have a different date format, I will tell you in the next classes. There is a dedicated topic available for how to deal with dates.
So you have given expression, right? So it is internally like converting this string into date, right?
No, by default, this you may assume that it is string, but this is the date format.
No, in the list you have given like a string, right?
See, do remember this when one second, I'll show you it. Anything you read it from this thing, no? When you infer the schema, that's a reason I told you that, you know, how to deal with dates I will tell you, but here what is happening is this, you may assume that it is string, but this function, whenever I call this function and I pass the date, it trying to convert into a date object.
Exactly. So here it is converting into data. Like,
Yes, clear?
yeah.
But however, if the date is in a different format, we can also convert a date into the right format as well. So here can you see this date is not the date object, it is string. So this method is trying to convert date into, string into date object. But
So
this string should be in this format only.
Right. So this is the default format of the Spark.
This is the default format of Spark data frames. If it is in a different way, I will tell you how to do that. Okay, right. Yeah. Any other questions from anybody? Nagendra, any questions? Santosh?
No, no.
Okay. Okay, right. I think let's get into little complex, but let's do a little recap what we have done till now, so that we can proceed further. Now, for example, I want only Mehboob to answer. So we created data frame, right? How do you create a data frame from memory?
Spark.create data.
From memory, spark.create data frame. Correct? So that is the first thing what I explained, right? If you want to create a data frame from memory, create data frame. Yes or no, Mehboob? Mehboob, kindly interact.
Yes, Naveen.
Yeah, please. So if you want to create a data frame from an external source, what is the method you will write? Spark.read. What is the return type of spark.read, Mehboob?
Data reader.
Sorry?
Spark data reader.
Data frame reader. Never forget
Data
this.
frame. Sorry.
Please, you're not kids. Okay, you're not kids, guys. So if you see the spark.read returns you data frame reader, and data frame reader has several methods, right? For example, what all methods we have in the data frame reader? Exactly.
CSV, text.
We have CSV, text, JDBC, JSON, things like that. So the very first thing, if you want to create a data frame from a text file from an external source, you will write spark.read. And then you can invoke different methods like CSV, JSON, different methods. And Achal, can you tell me what all different methods we explored on data frame? What all different methods we saw on the data frame? Achal.
Yeah, dot select.
Yeah, exactly. So we did dot select. Okay.
Yeah, dot call.
No, dot call.
Yeah, dot call is to select column.
Dot
show.
Yeah, dot show.
And dot print schema. Yeah.
Then
dot read. Okay, dot with column. Yeah.
Then
drop. Yeah, drop column.
Correct. So just by heart, these things, guys, very, very, very important. Now, let's take a small use case now. Let me go according to the slides now. So we were able to see how to create, how to add a column to a particular data frame. Okay. So let's take up another example. Once again, let me just take up some more examples and I'll proceed to the topics. Okay, let me just take up another example, which is not mentioned in the slides. What I do now is, for example, let's take this u.user. So for example, now what I want to do, please look at this. This particular column is there, right? For example, gender. This gender column, it is like, it is having M for male and F for female. It has short names. Now what I wanted to do is I want to read this file. Do remember, I want to read this file. And then what I do is, okay, let me just modify this records. I want to show you one more important thing. So I will just rename this as u.csv. Okay, so as of now, I'm just renaming all these things to comma. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to expand this, like if you see M, I want to expand it as male. And if I see F, I want to expand it to female. Let's say that is my use case. Okay, let's do that. Now, so first I'm importing everything and I'm creating this Spark session object. I think these steps are very clear. So now I want to create a data frame where your data resides in external. So it is spark dot read dot CSV file, and you will give the path of the CSV file. So it is u dot CSV. Okay. Now please look at this. When I write df dot print schema, when I write df dot print schema, and let's see what happens now. What happened? Oh, sorry, this has to be object. Okay, let it execute. So now if you see this very carefully, that it did not infer the schema. Please look at this here. It has taken the column names as underscore C0 underscore C1. It has taken the column names, no, not the column names, whatever is mentioned here. This is very, very important. So I have to specify telling that this data set as header, correct? I want to take these column names as my this first row as my column names. So for that, what I can do, spark.read, it has one important method called option. We will explain, I'll explain you about this option in the tomorrow's class. For now, what you can simply do, you can specify header is equal to true. When you specify header is equal to true, what happens? You're trying to create a data frame and you are specifying that this file has an header. So when you specify this header is equal to true, the first row, it is treated as a header. Look at this. The first row, it is treated as header. One more important observation. Let's assume I don't write this. One more important observation. Look at this. Let me get only the first record. Let me get only the first record and see what happens. Let me get the first record and see what happens. So what happens when I print the first record, it will assume that this is the first record. So it will print this is the first record. Okay. So if you specify header is equal to true, it is not treated. This will not be treated as a data. This will be treated as a header only. But now in this case, I did not specify header is equal to true. When I say df.show of 1, it will try to print this. This is treated as the record, and you will see the output. Let us wait. Okay, now did you see this? It has treated the first row as the data only. So, and if you see this, the column names, it has taken as C0, C1, C2, C3, C4. So for that, what you can simply do, so dot option header is equal to, oh sorry, not here. Dot option header is equal to true. Now when I do this, what happens? The first row, it is treated as header, and the column names will be the ID, age, and gender. And the first row will be this one. But more about these options, I will explain you tomorrow. But for now, you try to understand spark.read. It has a method called dot option, and you can specify some options. This is one of the option with key and value you can give. Yeah, now can you see this? It has taken the It has taken the first row as the header and the column names. Okay, now what is my use case? My use case is very simple. I want to expand this gender. If I see M, I want to expand it to male. That is my use case, right? So let's start working on that. So now what I do, so I'll just create another data frame result df. So what I do now, please look at this. I want to create a new column. So df dot, I want to create a new column with column. And let's say I want to create a column name, or like some expanded gender. Expanded gender. And what is the value? Now this is very important. What is the value? The value for this is if I see M, it should be male. If I see F, it should be female. So in Spark, we have something called as when. So when, look at this, when, some conditions, when, please look at this, when, if the column, what is the column name? If the column gender, please look at this, if the column gender, look at this, if the column gender, if it is equal to, so you have to write triple equal to in Spark data frame to compare. If it is male, look at this, if it is male, then the value is male. Look at this, how simple it is. When, so the value for this is when the column gender, this is one way to select a column, right? Column of gender, if it is male, then it is male. One more, again, dot when, again, dot when, again, one more condition. What is one more condition? Again, column of gender, if it is equal to, F, look at this, if it is equal to F, then it is female. Look at this. Or if you don't see M and F, if you see something else, otherwise you can give anything unknown. You can give unknown. One second. Unknown. One second, let me just check everything is fine. So df dot with column name when, I will just enter into the next line. So df dot with column, and the column name is what I've given here. The column name is df dot with column, and oh sorry, why am I closing here? Yeah. So with column expanded gender, when the column of gender, if it is male, it is this. Okay, again enter, so that you can format the code nicely. So again, when, if the column of gender, if it is F, then it should return female, otherwise as unknown. Yeah, I think it's fine. So result data frame dot show. Look at this. So we can also invoke, when conditions as well. So let me execute this. Yeah. You remember in SQLs, we have this case conditions, right? So similarly, I'm in data frames, we have this when. Let it execute. So yeah, yeah. Can you see this? It has created a new column, and here I'm able to see the expanded version of the M and F. And you know how to drop a column, right? If I want to drop a column, what I can simply do, dot drop a particular column as well. I can drop a column. So I have to drop column, let's say gender. I can also do this as well, right? Any questions here, guys? Any single questions from anybody? Okay, right. I see there's no questions. I think let's proceed. Okay, so we were able to see now to create a data frame from a CSV file, JSON file, and we were able to explore some data frame operations, things like that. Now, let me show you how to perform some aggregations, grouping, join operations, things like that. Okay, right. Can we take a 5 minutes break, guys? Okay, now the next example, what we do, let me show you how to perform some, aggregations grouping on data frames. So I will take up this particular data set only, and I will create a data frame. So we have already created a data frame, but anyway, let me create another program. So we'll just name it as grouping, sorting, aggregations. Okay, so what I do now is, so as usual, I will import all the necessary Spark imports. I'll create a main method and Spark session. Let me create a data frame. So, Spark dot read dot option, because it has an header. So you have to specify header is equal to row, and dot, it is a CSV file. You give the path of the CSV file, d:\dataset u dot CSV file. So once we have created a data frame, we can explore, we can invoke several functions on the data frame. For example, I want to find out, let's say, maximum and minimum salary, maximum and minimum, salary of employee. You can do that. For example, first let's do one thing. I want to find out, what is the total count of each category. So this is very important. Okay, so for example, I want to do group by designation, and then I will get the total count for each designation. If you look into this data set, we have a designation column. I want to display the total number of total count of each designation. That means for designation, which is equal to technician, how many records are available. So I want to do some sort of an aggregations. So what I do, very simple. df dot, it has a method called group by. You have to specify you're doing group by based on which column. So now if you see this very carefully, many people forget to tell this. Group by, you can pass a string or you can pass a column also. For example, now I'm invoking a group by method which takes string as argument. I will later I will go with column. So can you see this? I'm choosing a group by, I'm grouping by designation. I'm grouping by designation. Then what am I doing? I'm invoking some aggregation function. Look at this, dot aggregate. I'm invoking an aggregation. And what function I want to invoke? I want to invoke a function, let's say count. I want to invoke a function called count of star. Okay, and then what I can do, then I can write dot show. So I'm grouping by designation and I'm aggregating, on the, I'm aggregating and getting the total count for each category. Let me execute this. So you can invoke a count aggregation function, you can invoke sum, all the aggregation functions you can invoke. Let's wait for some time. Okay, now if you see this, yes. So total number of records for librarian, it is 14. So for example, if you go to the data set and if you search for technician and technician, and if you get the total count, it is 7. So your technician, if you see, it is 7. So like that, you can also perform aggregations. Very simple code, data frame dot group by. You can give the column name and aggregate, and you can pass the function whether you want to you want to count, or you want to do sum, or you want to do min. You have different functions. For example, let's do this. So what I want to do, again, I want to do group by. I want to get the sum of salaries of each group. For example, what I can do, df dot group by, and you can pass the column designation and dot aggregate. And see, in place of count, you can pass a function called sum. That's all. In place of count, you can pass a function called sum. So now what I do, sum of which column? Sum of on the column salary dot show. Very simple, guys. Only thing, one time you have to practice. If you practice, trust me, it's going to be very easy and it's not difficult. It's not difficult. Simply remember the syntax. Grouping by based on this column, and you're performing aggregation and you're passing the aggregation method name. So you want count, you want sum. All this functions is available inside this package, org.apache.spark.sql.functions. Inside that you have so many functions. Okay. Let it execute. So yeah, so now if you see this here, for example, for librarian, the sum of the salary is of 5,10,000 something, sum of their salary for each designation. Now for example, you see here, the column name here is sum of salary. I can also give alias name as well here. What I can simply do, dot alias, and you can give the alias name also here. For example, I can say salary or sum of salary, sum of salary. I can also give alias name as well here. Very simple. It's grouping by this particular column, and I'm invoking an aggregation. And what is the function? Sum. I'm just giving an alias name dot show. That's all. Very clear. I mean, very simple. See, now the alias name is sum of salary. For example, now I can also do sort. Very simple. It will be very straightforward. For example, I want to sort. Based on, let's say descending order. I want to sort this based on descending order. Very simple. What I can do, dot, you have a method called sort. That's all. Sort, and you can sort based on descending order. Look at this. I'm sorting based on descending order, and what is the column name? The column name is sum of salary. If you want ascending order, you can give ascending order. That's all. Let me execute this now. So it's very simple. Group by dot aggregation, and once after dot aggregation is done, again I'm doing sorting based on descending order. Okay. Now, yeah, if you see this now, it is sorted based on descending order. Like this, you can also do max and min as well. So instead of this count, you can invoke this method min. For max, you can invoke this function called max. Like that, you can invoke different functions, different aggregation functions. Is it clear, guys? Any questions yet? Any questions here, guys? Anybody? For example, let's finish this maximum and minimum also. So it will be done. So what I can simply do, df dot again group by, and group by the column designation, group by designation, and dot aggregation function. And what am I doing? I want to find out min of, let's say min of, I can specify the min of salary for each group, and then again what I can simply do, again max of salary, max of salary and dot show. Yeah. So I'm for each group, I'm finding the minimum salary and the maximum salary. So like this, I can chain also one aggregation, one aggregate method. I can, invoke several aggregation functions, maybe count, even sum, all those things, average, all the things. Yeah, can you see this? For librarian, the minimum salary is this, the maximum salary is this. You can also add alias names. I think you're clear with that, right? If you want to add alias names, what you can simply do, dot alias, you can give the alias names as well. You can give the alias names as well. Okay, let's say maximum salary, minimum. You can also do this as well. Okay, right. Any single question before I proceed, guys? Yeah, my book, please go ahead.
14.
Yeah, my book.
Line number 14, Naveen. I think the work.
Tell me, line number 14.
Use column name equal to star.
That is not column name. It is in SQL we write, right? Select count of star. Yes or no? Okay, right. Right. Any other questions from anybody? Okay, right. I think let's proceed. Let's take up some more examples now. For example, let's take up joins. Okay, let's see how do we perform joins. So I think I have some data here. Let me just see whether I have data. Once again, let me just see. Okay, I have some customer and transaction. Let me just check. This is a data set. This is not the data set. One second. This is okay. I think let's cook up now. Okay, I have this transaction data. Let me cook up some. I think I should be having, one second. Let me just search. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I think I don't have. Yeah, let's cook up some data now. So I have this transaction customer ID, and now let me have one more file. I'll name it as customer. It's customer. One second. Oh, I have here, right? Guys, I have here, let me just close everything. So this is the customer. So this is the customer.csv, and this is my transaction.csv. So I want to join these two tables. Let me show you. First, let me create a data frame. So let me create a data frame quickly. I'll just name it as joins. Okay. So I want to create two data frames now. One is on the customer file, and another one is on the transaction file. I want to create two data frames now. Let me import. Let me write get Spark session and get Spark data frame. So here I'll just knock out all these things. Does it have header? Yeah, it has header. So header is equal to true, and do not worry, these things I will explain you later on. So .csv, and I will give the path of the CSV. So in my case, it is the column dataset / customer.csv. And I've created one data frame. I will just name it as customer data frame. Very simple, very simple. Let me create another data frame. I will just name it as transaction data frame, and the file is transaction.csv. Now I have two data frames. Let me print these two data frames. Customer data frame dot show and transaction data frame dot show. So let's create, let it print. So I have two data frames. So this is one data frame and this is another data frame. Let's assume I want to do join. So let's say I want to perform inner join. So I hope everybody aware of inner join. So we will perform inner join between these two data frames. Okay. So now what I do now. So look at this. Let me just. So first thing, I want some join expression based on which particular column am I joining. So I want to join, if you look into the data frame here, I want to join between the customer underscore ID column with customer underscore ID. So this is the customer data frame. This is a transaction data frame. So from the customer data frame, I want cust underscore ID should be equal to customer underscore ID from the transaction data frame. So the expression, the first is join expression. Look at this, join expression. So the join expression here is, customer data frame dot, please look at this, customer data frame dot, I want to join based on which column. From the customer data frame, I'm selecting the cust underscore ID. So I'm selecting this column should be equivalent, I'm comparing with this particular column from the transaction. So this is my join expression. I'm joining based on this condition. So is equal to transaction data frame dot call and the column name. So the column name here is customer underscore ID. So this is my join expression. And let me store the join type in a variable so that I can only modify this. Join type is, let's say I want to perform inner join. I want to perform inner join, and by default, the join is inner joins. Whenever you perform a join, it is inner join. This is very important. So inner join, I think everybody is aware that it basically removes all the things that are not common in both the tables. Okay, so it returns back all the data that match the join condition. So now, for example, here, if you see this, this is the customer data 1, 2, 3, 5, and you are 1, 2, 3, 4. So here you don't have 5 and you don't have 4. So it will only give 1, 2, 3 records. So let me show you. So let me perform a join now. Val result is equal to, so customer data frame dot, I'm joining with what data frame? Transaction data frame. So I'm joining customer data frame with the transaction data frame. And what is my join expression? My join expression is this. Join expression is this, and the type of join I'm invoking is join type. That's all. And finally, I can, rather than storing in a variable, I can write simply dot show. So customer data frame dot join, customer data frame I'm joining with transaction data frame, and based on which column are you joining? Based on customer ID from the customer data frame, customer underscore ID from the transaction data frame. That is my join expression. And what is the type of a join? The type of a join is inner. The statement can be, return it like this also. For example, you can also write the same statement like this also. Dot join and transaction data frame dot. You can also, rather than storing this expression in a variable, you can also give the this expression only here, and you can also do this inner. You can also do this same. Rather than storing in a variable and simply passing in a variable, I am directly giving this here directly. Okay. Anyway, whichever is easy approach you can follow, but this is more readable, so I'm just following this approach. So let me execute this code. So yeah, can you see this? You're able to perform join. For example, if you want to perform left join, you can also do. Simply give from inner join to left join. So, and then the join condition would remain the same. So execute. Yeah. So if you see this, the left join always definitely it will try to do a join, and all the left side table it will try to display. So 1, 2, 3, and 5, and wherever there's no match, definitely that it is trying to give null value. That is a left join. Similarly, you can and if you want to join it to the right, right join, you can specify right here, right? Any questions here, guys, before I proceed? So like this, you can also perform joins between the data frame as well based on your business use case. Any single questions from anybody? Achal, any questions here? Naginder?
No, that's fine.
No.
Okay, okay, right. Okay, I see there's no questions. I think let's proceed. For example, this is another important thing. You can also create, this is very important. Okay, for example, let me just create one. So I'll just name it as registering data frame table. So let me import this. So this is very important. You see that you can also execute a SQL queries on your data frames also. I mean, you can, let me show you. So what I do now is get Spark session, get Spark data frame, and I'll just skip all these things. Okay, then I will just specify that u.user only. D colon dataset u.csv. Now look at this. I can create a table on top of your data frame. For example, let's create a data frame. So data frame is already there. Please look at this. Data frame is already there. Now what I do for this data frame, I will create a table name. So I can also attach a table. Create or replace temporary view, and I am giving the table name, for example, user. Now, once you have attached a table name, or once you have attached the, as I told you that you can specify a view here. So you can, I'm giving the view name as user. Once you have attached for a data frame of view, you can write a simple SQL queries as well, rather than using data frame API. So if you remember that I told you that, you can invoke data frame API to interact with Spark SQL module, or you can also write SQL statements. So I can do that as well. For example, what I can simply do, spark.sql, and you can execute a SQL queries also. So select star from, or you can select, for example, you can give select, let's say designation from user. See, I can also do this as well. So let me execute this. See, I am able to execute a simple SQL queries also. Whatever SQL queries, you can simply for a data frame, just give a create or replace temporary view, and you just give the view name, and you can execute your SQL queries also. Rather than making use of data frame API, you can also use SQL queries as well, right? Any questions here? Okay, for example, let me show you some more examples. You can also filter the call, filtering rows. So you can also filter. For example, we have this data frame dot, you can filter. So I want to filter based on what condition. I want to filter based on if the column designation, if it is equal to, let's say technician, if it is equal to technician. So I can write dot show of. So I can also filter. So filter, and on which column are you selecting? I'm selecting the column designation whose value is technician. I can also do this. So that is filter, and there's another one called where. This is very important. They'll ask you where filter versus where. So inside this where, no, you can give a free float text. So I can give free float text as designation is equal to, I can give technician dot show. So if you see this, it's a free float text. It's a text, it's a string. So I can give a free flow string actually. Okay. So that is the difference between filter and where. This is very important. Something like, one second. What is wrong? Cannot resolve technician given input columns is. Sorry, cannot resolve technician. Okay, I think this statement has gone wrong. One second, where designation cannot resolve. Once again, let me just execute once. So that is one difference between filter and where actually. So you can also filter with filter, or you can also filter with where also. Okay, I think the single quote I was missing, right? Right. Any questions here, guys? Any questions here? Okay, guys, that's it for today. We will catch up tomorrow.